Hello and welcome to this tools introduction video. As an Ericsson worker on site, you need to ensure your standards of workmanship and quality. In order to do this, you have to use the correct tool. Well, you know very well you can't use, for example, a pair of wire cutters to tighten a nut. So it's very important that you have the correct tools available. In fact, the Ericsson product portfolio includes a selection of tools. We haven't got all the tools here, but we've got quite a selection of them to show you. But the most basic tool that you'll need, of course, is your basic tool kit, your personal toolkit. The toolkit contains a lot of the small tools you will need. For example, it contains spanners, it contains cutting tools, hammers, saws, gloves, and even a thought towards first aid. Using the correct tool is a necessity, especially if you are an installer. If, however, your field of expertise is maintenance, then these tools might be a little bit on the heavy side. And so there is created a toolkit specifically for maintenance, the maintenance toolkit, which contains many more tools, but there's smaller hand tools, and it includes wrenches, first aid kit, and even a small voltmeter. But if your field of expertise is, let's say, inspection, for example, you're inspecting the quality of installers' work, then your needs are a little bit different. You'll need perhaps compasses to check the headings of antennas, binoculars in order to have a closer inspection of a tower without actually climbing, spirit levels, various small hand tools, but not so many of those. But everything should be contained inside something like a rucksack. And that way it's nice and portable, you can take it with you and it's not much of an encumbrance. So, for inspections, for maintenance, and for general installation work, there are toolkits available for you. If, however, you are going to be doing some radio installations, then you'll be playing with antenna feeders, and feeders can be quite big, heavy cables. Jumper cables, well, they are pre-assembled and supplied to you, ready assembled with the connectors on the end of them, so you don't need to terminate the connectors. But feeder cables require preparation, and so we supply a cable preparation kit. This preparation kit contains tools for removing the outer insulation from the cable conductors. It contains tools for preparing them, as well as tape to waterproof them, various saws, pliers, and wire brushes for cleaning the ends. As well as the cable preparation, you will also need to do some crimping. Smaller connectors, for example BNC and SMA connectors, aren't soldered these days, they are very often just crimped. Now then, before we do go on to the crimping tools, one little word: when you are crimping these tools, the crimping is very important. One of the major problem areas has been using the wrong tool. Although you may have locally available tools, when it comes to crimping you should use the tool recommended by Ericsson and contained in the product portfolio. One of the smaller crimping tools is this. It comes in a kit complete with dies for crimping different types of connectors. These are the small connectors you would perhaps have inside radio base stations. For heavier equipment, let's say when you're doing cabinet installation, you may require something a bit more meaty. And here we have a mechanical press. Again, there's a selection of dies in the kit for taking up to 65mm square cables. Cables of up to 150 square millimeters require something a bit more meaty. And here we have a hydraulic press. And this hydraulic press is ideal for crimping those connectors, dies and C-clamps that are used for splicing, say, earthing cables. When connectors have been put onto feeders, when you're connecting jumper cables, or even if it's just the small connectors inside cabinets, you want to make sure that they are tightened up to a specific torque. And here we have a series of tools for this purpose. We have small torque wrenches. These will be used for connectors inside cabinets. We have larger torque wrenches that would be used, for example, for bolts inside cabinets. Some of the smaller, lighter stuff. There is also the big daddy of the torque wrenches. This particular one you would use for things like mounting bases, securing cabinets to the walls or to the floors. This particular one has got plug-in heads to take different size nuts and bolts. So really here there's most of the items that you'll need for basic installations. But let's take a little look at something else a little bit more heavy, a little bit more deep, a bit more groove. Most installations you will need to do some drilling. And if you're going to be drilling into masonry, concrete, into floors, you'll need something fairly heavy, a good hammer drill. And again, Ericsson provide a range of hammer drills. This one here, for example, is battery operated. It comes with charger, spare batteries, and the kit even includes a small selection of masonry drill bits. Of course, we have the more usual hammer drills, and this one is powered from AC mains supply. There are two variants, one for 110 volt areas and the other one when 220 volts mains is available. Again, the kits include a few ancillary items which include masonry drill bits. And the tool that I find the most useful, of course, is a little battery operated electric drill. It's perfect for preparing the ends of feeder cables, screwdriver attachment to tighten screws if you have got a lot to tighten, or even for small mechanical work like drilling holes. When you're installing antennas, however, you require something totally different. Here we have the antenna system installation kit. The installation kit contains slings, ropes, cleats and clamps. The basic items that you'll need when you are actually installing equipment on towers and masts, walls. In addition to this, you need something similar to personal tools. Now, if you're going to climb towers and masts and walls, then you will have a climbing certificate. You must be qualified for the job. So you will already be familiar with the climbing harness. In fact, you will probably have your own if you're a qualified climber. In addition to this, there are several kits available. You may already be familiar with them. We have basic climbing equipment, which includes your helmet, gloves, safety goggles, and even the very hooks that you use to anchor yourself when you're climbing. Remember, you always have one hook hooked to the tower at any one time when you're moving around the tower, and that way it's impossible for you to fall. In addition to that, you will require a basic working kit, and this working kit contains like the snatch block that goes at the top of the tower to take the weight of all the equipment. It contains tools to prevent ropes from going over the edge of brickwork and chafing. We also have got a safety kit, and this includes ropes and carabiners and various other items that are all used as an additional part of the safety equipment. And no matter where you're working, you should really have some sort of emergency rescue kit, and this Ericsson provide here. So all of these tools cover just about every area when you're doing installations, from antennas through to mechanical work, electrical work, even down to feeders and antennas. When you're working with antennas, you will of course need to play around with one or two items, including directional headings. And so we have a range of compasses, and compasses are available for the northern hemisphere, the southern hemisphere, and for equatorial zones. And when you're dealing with feeder cables themselves, you require something else. Feeder cables are big and heavy, as I've already said, and they come on drums, very often several meters in diameter. You can't lift those manually because they can weigh several hundred kilograms, and they're also quite delicate. So we require these frames, these cradles, for lifting the cable drums. We basically stick a tube through the holes in the centre of the drum. These are then lifted by these cradles by some mechanical means. This particular one uses a hydraulic jack to lift the tube that lifts the cable drum. In that way you can lift the drum away from the ground and pull your cable off without doing any damage. But no matter where you're working, you're nearly always working on heavy equipment. You may be working outside, you may be working indoors. You'll need to climb over equipment. You may need to climb up to ladder racking to install cables, or onto the roof of a cabinet to do some drilling or screwing or whatever. So here we have got a simple aluminium ladder. And this particular ladder is quite a versatile ladder. It's got various hinges which lock. It's very, very sturdy, can take a little bit of weight. And this you would use indoors or over the top, to get you over the top of radio equipment. So all the tools that we have here cover just about any eventuality. There are many more tools in the Ericsson product portfolio, but we've only shown you a few of the major highlights. If you want to find out more information about these specific tools, then follow the links in this tools section and you can find out much more information and details of each individual kit.